Ever wonder what happened to the foods that made country fairs feel like stepping into a different world? Not the rides or the games, but those sticky, fingered treats that existed nowhere else on Earth except when the carnival rolled into town. The dishes that made summer nights unforgettable, that you could smell from 3 booths away and taste in your dreams weeks later. Today, we're counting down 15 lost fairground foods that once defined summer, but are slipping away faster than cotton candy in the rain. Let's find out what happened to the flavors that made county fairs magical. 15. Boiled peanuts. Down in the deep south, there was this thing that confused every tourist and delighted every local. Soft, briny peanuts that had been simmering in salted water until they transformed into something completely different. Green peanuts cooked for hours until they reached that bean-like texture that neither made perfect sense or left people wondering what the fuss was about. This wasn't some new invention. We're talking about a documented Southern tradition since the 19th century, sold at county fairs during harvest season. The warm paper sacks would get soggy from the steam, and visitors would fish out these salty treasures while wandering the fairgrounds. Outside the Deep South, though, good luck finding them at modern fairs. They've become this polarizing piece of nostalgia that Southerners guard protectively. However, speaking of regional traditions, wait until you hear what a dentist invented that changed fairs forever. 14. Cotton candy. Dentist William Morrison and confectioner John C. Wharton unveiled fairy floss at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, connecting spun sugar to fairgrounds from the very beginning. Those weightless webs dissolved on tongues, bags bigger than heads, sticky fingers that announced someone had experienced something magical. The machines still exist, but pre-made bags replaced the live spinning at too many small fairs. What was lost wasn't just the taste, it was the performance, the anticipation, the visible transformation of sugar into edible clouds. As a result, the magic disappeared when convenience took over. Now, if spun sugar seemed innovative, wait until you meet the man who turned apples into glossy red temptations. 13. Candy apples. William W. Kolb created these beauties in Newark, New Jersey in 1908, and his window display caused such a stir that the treat spread to every fair and boardwalk in the country. That hard, cinnamon-red candy shell required genuine courage. People had to really want it because biting through that glassy coating was dangerous. Labor-intensive and legitimately dangerous, they demanded skills fewer vendors bother maintaining today. Stricter safety rules mean fresh-dipped versions are rarer than honest campaign promises, leaving only memories of that glossy red perfection. Even so, let's move to something that kept Midwestern fairgoers coming back for generations. Number 12. Lemon Shake-Ups. Before everything came pre-mixed and pre-packaged, there was something hypnotic about watching someone make drinks right in front of customers. Fresh lemon wedges, sugar, water, and ice are getting violently shaken in a clear cup until foam appeared. People could see every ingredient going in, hear the ice rattling around, and taste the difference that handshaking made, pulp and all. This was the Midwest's answer to summer heat, a ritual that locals in India, Illinois, and Ohio planned their fair visits around. That tart-sweet combination hit differently when people knew it was crafted just for them, not poured from some industrial dispenser. Most fairs switched to the easy route years ago, but anyone who remembers knows efficiency killed something beautiful. Speaking of handcrafted perfection, one Texas inventor was about to change summer forever. 11. Snow cones. Samuel Burt probably had no clue he was creating childhood magic when he invented his snow cone machine in 1919 and started selling these icy treats at the State Fair of Texas in the 1920s. Finely shaved ice drowning in neon syrups that turned tongue colors that didn't exist in nature. Electric blue was the gold standard. The paper cones became soggy disasters within minutes, The syrup pooled at the bottom, and people were in a constant race against melting time. None of that mattered because of the chaos was half the fun. Craft shave ice shops might taste better now, but they lack the pure chaotic joy of syrup-stained fingers and rainbow-colored evidence that summer was happening. Furthermore, let's move to the most heated debate in fair food history. Number 10. Corn dogs. The corn dog war rages on. Fletcher's corny dogs at the State Fair of Texas in 1942, or Pronto Pup claiming 1941 at the Minnesota State Fair. Both sides fight for the crown, and everyone wins in this battle. Hot dogs dipped in cornmeal batter and deep fried on a stick created the ultimate fairground fuel. Hand dip stands feel archaeological now, replaced by frozen uniformity, the tastes of efficiency and disappointment. The original stories remind us when fair foods came from actual innovation, not just whatever could go viral on social media. Similarly, Minnesota had its own miniature obsession that became legendary. Number 9. Mini Donuts. Tom Thumb Mini Donuts owned the Minnesota State Fair by the late 1940s, turning those bite-sized rings into a fair ritual people structured their entire day around. The smell of them frying could guide people through a crowded fairground, that yeasty, sugary aroma that made stomachs rumble 3 booths away, fresh from the oil and tossed in cinnamon sugar while still warm enough to burn tongues. They were the perfect walking food. Small enough to share, but good enough that sharing felt criminal. Regional loyalty keeps them alive in some places, but giant donuts and Instagram-worthy cronuts stole their spotlight at fairs that care more about photos than flavor. In addition, let's head to Pennsylvania for the king of fair desserts. Number 8. Funnel cake. Pennsylvania Dutch cooks started this tradition, but the Kutztown Folk Festival in the mid-20th century turned funnel cake into the undisputed king of fair desserts. That lattice pour of batter fried golden and buried under powdered sugar created something lighter than air and heavier than memories. The smell could navigate people through any crowded fairground, that distinctive aroma that meant summer was real and anything was possible. Sure, they still exist, but extreme topping versions miss the point completely. Sometimes perfection doesn't need improvement, just respect. What's more, Kraft was about to make their mark on fairground history. If you're loving this trip down memory lane, hit subscribe and that notification bell. Trust me, the wild stuff we're about to cover will blow your mind. Number 7. Caramel apples. Kraft Foods made these mainstream in the 1950s by printing recipes on caramel bag labels, though vendors had been making them earlier. Fresh dipped meant washing that thick caramel coat and cool while holding the stick, creating that perfect soft chew that separated them from their hard candy shell cousins. Nowadays, prepackaged gourmet versions, loaded with nuts and candy bits, dominate, but they miss the point entirely. The magic was in the simplicity. Just apple, just caramel. Just that moment when people bit through the coating and everything was perfect. Wait until you meet Arkansas's genius who started a revolution. Number 6. Deep-fried pickles. Before they became standard bar food everywhere, fried pickles belonged to the fairs. Burnell Fat Man Austin invented them in 1962 at his drive-in in Atkins, Arkansas, and Southern fairs adopted them instantly. Dill chips or spears, battered and fried, served with ranch dip that made the tangy salt combination even more addictive. Success became their curse, though they got so popular in restaurants that they lost their special fair magic. Sometimes being everywhere means being nowhere special, and fried pickles learned that lesson the hard way. Now, let's head north, where they had their own fried obsession. Number 5, elephant ears. The name alone brings back memories. These plate-sized discs of fried dough dusted with cinnamon sugar had those crispy edges and chewy centers that made them completely different from their latticed funnel cake relatives. Midwestern state fairs claimed them by the 1970s, connecting to Native American fried bread traditions. Some regions gave up their elephant ear stands for more exotic options, and that feels wrong. Simple doesn't mean inferior, but try telling that to a fair obsessed with the next big thing. On the other hand, Wisconsin took dairy worship to a whole new level. Number 4. Wisconsin-styled fried cheese curds. If cheese curds don't squeak when bitten, something's wrong. The Wisconsin State Fair turned these golden nuggets of molten dairy into a sacred tradition that local media cover curd stands during fair season. These cheese curds battered and fried until the outside turned golden and the inside became liquid pleasure, salty, squeaky, and absolutely impossible to stop eating. Beyond the upper Midwest, though, authentic curd stands became about as rare as humble politicians. When people spot them at non-regional fairs, it feels miraculous, a reminder of when local actually meant something. If cheese curds seemed indulgent, the 2000s brought something that changed everything. Number 3. Deep-fried Oreos. Chicken Charlie Bughosian started this craze at Southern California fairs in the early 2000s, and it spread across the country faster than gossip in a small town. Sandwich cookies dunked in sweet batter and fried until the cream filling turned into molten sugar heaven. Pure indulgence wrapped in novelty that actually delivered. The Y2K era vibes feel charmingly dated now. Many fairs still serve them, but they're forever tied to that specific moment when people discovered anything could be battered and fried, and crowds would line up for it. Yes, this was just the beginning of the madness about to consume fair food. Number 2. Fried Coke. Here's where that era of fair madness really took flight. Coca-Cola flavored batter dips, deep fried and drizzled with cola syrup and whipped cream, debuted at the State Fair of Texas in 2006, courtesy of Abel Gonzalez. This was peak mid-2000 fair insanity, when vendors competed to create the most viral novelty instead of focusing on things that actually tasted good. It burned bright and faded fast, existing more for the story than the eating experience. The fried everything boom cooled off hard, leaving treats as time capsules of when county fairs thought viral videos were more important than satisfied customers. Despite that, if fried Coke seemed extreme, this same mad scientist had one more trick. Number 1. Deep-fried butter. That was the exact moment county fairs lost their minds completely. Frozen butter chunks wrapped in dough and flash-fried until the center turned into molten dairy insanity. Abel Gonzalez unleashed this at the Big Tex Choice Awards in Texas in 2009, the same mad scientist who gave us fried Coke. Few vendors even attempt it anymore because of the logistics, the mess, and because it became the punchline for an entire era when fairs were desperately trying to outshock each other. Sometimes, the most ridiculous foods become the most memorable, not because they were good, but because they perfectly captured a moment when common sense took a vacation. From the simple magic of cotton candy spinning at the 1904 World's Fair to the absolute chaos of deep-fried butter in 2009, these weren't just snacks. They were edible time machines that transported us to summer nights when the world felt smaller and sweeter. Each bite carried promises that only existed in those magical weeks when carnival lights turned small towns into temporary kingdoms where calories didn't count and sticky fingers were badges of honor. The flavors might be fading, replaced by flashier innovations, or buried under safety concerns, but the memories stick around permanently. Some things are too good to forget, even when the world moves on without them. Now, if you could bring back just one of these lost fair foods and make it the star of every county fair again, which one would it be, and why? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into America's lost food culture. See you in the next video.